Hi, this is Lou, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be painting a rainbow watercolour wreath. So I've got my watercolour paper here on a block. I've got my set of watercolours, and I've got quite a few here. I'm going to be trying to work through the rainbow, so I kind of need a bit of everything. I've got a couple of jars of water, and I've got a paper towel. I've also got something to make a circle, so this isn't necessary. You can just kind of go freehand with this, but I'm going to give myself a little bit of a guideline to start with. So I'm just going to find the centre of my paper. And I'm going to draw a circle. Let's see. I think that's not bad. The circle is really just a guideline to where the kind of the central stem of the wreath is going to be. So it can go beyond that on either side into the centre, but it just gives me a kind of starting point. And if the pencil is a little bit dark, you can go around it with an eraser, just lighten it up so you can just about see it. Feel free to draw around something if you don't have a compass or you don't want to use one. And then I've got a fairly big paintbrush here. This is a size 10. It's a round brush. When it's wet, nice and wet, it comes to a nice fine point, which will allow me to paint nice fine stems. And the weight of the brush, the size of it allows you to kind of press it down and get nice big shapes as well. So you can get a real range with a brush like this, but you can use different size brushes for different lines if that works better for you. So let's mix up some colours. So I've got quite a lot here, but if you've got a palette with fewer colours in it, don't worry, just mix up colours on your palette to get all of the in-between ones. So if you've got a red and a yellow but you don't have an orange, then just mix the red and the yellow together. I've got this kind of circle on my kind of mixing wells where I go from pink through reds, oranges. This is supposed to be yellow, and then green, kind of bluey green, more of a warm blue, and then kind of purple, and then kind of back through to pink. I'm going to clean this little bit off because I don't want that to be quite so green. So if I just add a bit of water to it, it wakes up. And I can just clean that little bit. And then you can see all my yellows look a little bit green. That's because I mostly use them not for making yellow, but for mixing different greens with. I can go in with a pure yellow, and then that's a lot happier there. So I've got to decide where on the rainbow to start this. My idea is to go from one colour, work my way all the way around, and then come back again to the final colour in the rainbow, so you get a kind of nice transition through the piece. So I think I'm going to start with a red. So I've got 3 different reds here to choose from, but they're all kind of the same. So this one's Windsor Red. This is Rose Dorée, which is kind of a softer, slightly salmony kind of colour, and then this one is Scarlet Lake, which is a bit more of an orangey red, so I think that's maybe where I'll start. And then for the wreath, what I want to do is I want to make a mix of flowers and foliage, and I can make these up as I go around. You can change them, you can do different things, I can put some berries in, whatever I feel like as I go around. So okay, let's start with some flowers. And I'm just going to put some dots, I think, there. Maybe add a little bit of water onto my brush and then press down. And I can make myself some petals. I put a bit of hair in that one. And this is giving me a kind of spiky flower. Put a bit more red in. If I want to, I can wash my brush and I can go in and reshape some of these petals, make them a bit more regular. Let's have another go at that. Let's put one here. So just some dots at the centre, and then a little bit more water. I'm just going to press a few times and create myself a little flower. A little bit more water, and I'll just round those petals out a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into an orange. And again, if you don't have an orange, you could use something like a yellow ochre, which is kind of more of a browny yellow, which could be quite interesting. I'm going to mix a little bit of the two together there. And then I could do with some kind of stems, I think, coming out from here. So let's just use the tip of my brush and put in a line somewhere. And then let's make these leaves. So again, I can press my brush down and give myself the start of a shape and keep it going like that. I think I'd quite like a little bit more of a brighter colour in there, so I'm going to go straight into some of the orange in my palette and just dot that in a couple of places. And while I've still got that on my brush, let's do another little stem going more into the centre, and then maybe this time I'll do little smaller dabs for leaves. Again, I can touch those together so that all the colours kind of bleed together as I go around. Now I'm going into that yellow. What am I going to do for yellow? I think maybe something like a mimosa, so something with lots of kind of clusters of little flowers. And I'm just going to dab my brush, kind of making the tip go in circles, but they're not particularly neat circles. Yeah, that one can bleed into the orange there. And I think that needs something to kind of connect it all together. So again, I might go back to that yellow ochre, just pick up a little bit more and put some little flicks in here with the very tip of my brush, just to make them look like stems that are all kind of joining together. Okay, so that's the yellow. Let's move on to some green. So what greens have I got? I've got an olive green, which I really quite like. It doesn't really go very well with this green, which is more of a bluey green, but it will mix together with what's already in the palette. I've also got a sap green. I don't really use sap green very much. I've got a perylene green. I've got a Windsor green. But yeah, let's go with this olive green, just mixed with the green that's already in there. And then, yeah, I mean, if it's green, I should do some more leaves. So let's start somewhere in this yellow, pull a stem out, and then this time maybe I should do some like open leaves. So I'm making 2 swipes with my brush. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on them because I don't want a lot of kind of colour on there. And if doing 2 stripes, I can leave a little white bit in the middle. I can go in with a little bit more colour and reshape anything I want. And I can dot in a little bit more towards the base of the leaves just to give them a bit more oomph. Do I need another one? Maybe. And maybe I'll move. So yeah, I've got this green in my palette already that's there's more of this Windsor green. And I could take another leaf this way and do the same thing. Oh, I'm starting at the end of the leaf this time. Let's see if I can get one in there, one in there, one in there. Maybe there's another little one in there. Okay. And again, I can take my brush and neaten up any edges, but they don't have to be particularly neat. A little bit of movement, a little bit of kind of, oh dear. Well done, Lou, well done. Okay, let's see if I can get that up. So I've got a lot of water in my brush. Let's just put that in where my brush dropped, tap it down, and that's pretty much gone. I can also do the same on this side with these bits. There we go, but I quite like these little yellow bits there. That's looking quite nice. There's a little bit of a gap in there. I might just fill that in, maybe with just another couple of leaves or something. Something like that. So that's the green. And then I want to come into more of a bluey green. So if you've got a green and a blue, you can mix them together. If you've got a turquoise, you can go straight for that. This is phthalo turquoise. I think I'm going to mix it with a little bit of a green so that we don't get such a difficult transition. And then I'm going to make some more flowers like these ones, but maybe a bit smaller. I know you don't really get turquoise blue flowers, but you know, you don't really get rainbow wreaths either. I'm going to use just a little bit of water, pull out some petals, maybe a few more on these ones. Doing an exercise like this just gives you lots of opportunities for making different brush strokes, making them different sizes, and just finding out like how many different shapes you can make with your brush. Right at the end there, I've just gone back into the pan to get some more intense colour. I've dropped it in the centre. I think I could have done with doing that with the red. I might add some more in a bit later there. So I didn't actually connect with the green, so I might add just a little bit more, maybe another little mini one there. And now I've got 4 flowers, which doesn't look so good, so maybe I need another, just a little bit there. Okay. I've got 2 jars of water here, and the idea is that I'll wash warm colours in one and cool colours in another, so that I'll try and keep my colours from getting muddy. But if I forget and go in the wrong one, well, that'll do. Yeah, it'll be fine. So now I need to move more into a blue. So I've got to get round here. So I think I've got a little bit more kind of turquoise space to play with. So I might just spend a little bit more time playing with kind of, see, I went in the wrong one, turquoisey blues. Maybe mix a little bit of cerulean blue in with that. Okay, and maybe some more leaves. I think we could do some bigger ones again, like these ones here. We've got some small shapes here and then big shapes here. Could do with mixing them up a bit. And these ones are looking a little bit ugly, but we'll have a play and see what we can do with them. See, I think we could do with another stem out this way. And there, that one there. So yeah, so where the shapes don't look great, I can tidy them up a bit, but I don't need to kind of go into all of the ends and make them kind of match. Can do if you want to, of course. Just adding a little bit more green in there. I think maybe just a few more marks. Looks like another leaf out that way. Okay, good, keep going, keep going. Right, we're definitely into a warmer blue here. So, maybe some like berry shapes. So again, kind of looking like what I called mimosa back there. Maybe a bit closer together, just to make them look a little bit different. Little clusters. And I'm doing these very quickly, so they're really not very round at all. Something like that. And again, like I did back here, I kind of need something to link them. I might use a little bit of indigo, which is quite intense. A little dark. Okay. I like a little bit of indigo in there, and I quite like it where it hits these leaves and melts into them as well. I think I need to fill that little gap there, just with a little bit more of those blues. Yeah, let's make them bleed a bit, that's quite nice. Okay, let's keep going round. Blue into violet. I do have a violet on this palette, it's called Windsor Violet, which is I think it's the same kind of thing as dioxazine purple. If you don't, then I'd mix together a blue and a pink if you've got a pink, so something like an alizarin crimson or an opera rose or a permanent rose or something like that. Mix those together and you'll get a nice kind of violet colour. I wouldn't mix one of these reds, these orangey ones, that kind of gives you a very dark kind of dull purple. And again, I think we need some flowers. I'm going to put in some centres and then try and go doot doot doot. They're looking a bit like asters, which is quite nice. They have yellow centres, so maybe not exactly. But you do get these kind of purple flowers that have clusters of tiny little flowers, lilacs and hydrangeas and things like that. And there's one there. Dot, 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 dot. Maybe I need a little rogue one here, I think, something like that. Maybe it needs to kind of join into the blue. I've got quite little shapes down here, so I feel like I need something. Just putting an extra little one in there. Don't know even know what that is. It just looks a little bit random. Right, so we need to join the purple and the red together. So we need some kind of pink. So again, like a permanent rose, something like that would be great. I mean, it's a pink. We could do some kind of rosy shapes. So, so the way to do like a little rose is to make these little kind of little curving marks like that. Get some water on your brush and then just make the curving marks on the outside like a little bit bigger, like that. And let's do another one here. Little curving marks with the very tip of your brush. A little bit of water and expand those out. And maybe we need just something else here. Can have another little one in there. And it gives you a flower that's a slightly different shape as well. And then we need some leaves to join these two together. I've got some red and some pink on my palette. Let's just mix them together and put in some leaves here that are kind of long and thin. There we go. I think I could do with a little bit more oomph in there. So let's just add a little bit more of the red into those leaves. And there we go, that's our little wreath. Now the thing to do now is to look at the whole shape of it and see whether it needs anything else. And mine definitely has a little gap here. It's definitely fuller on this side than it is on that. So I could put in some more of these purple flowers. I could even put in some little rogue blue ones, I think. Some of these blue ones, like they've escaped and gone a bit far. Like that. There. And then they're mixing in with these purple ones. And then let's put in the little stems, little flicky stems for those. Okay, so that's looking better. So I'm just going to keep on trying to fill any gaps and yeah, try and blend those colours together a little bit more. And if colours bleed from one area into another, that's okay, as long as they're kind of close to the kind of the colours of the rainbow. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing that. So these are kind of dry now, maybe not totally, but I can give them a little bit more definition in the centres. And then, yeah, with the pink as well. I'll do a little bit more with these roses just to try and make the centres a little bit darker and a bit brighter. You can use the very tip of your brush, or you can kind of switch to a much finer brush. I might do that for these ones here. So you don't need to give them all kind of veins and leaves, but if you do kind of for some of them, it differentiates them. And then a little swoosh. Those ones are still wet, but that's okay. Maybe these kind of pinky ones over here. Maybe they get more of a red swoosh to kind of blend them into the red there. And yeah, let's do some dots at the very centres of these little blue kind of daisy-like flowers as well, turquoisey ones. Like that. So you can just keep going and adding a little bit more flowers. You can even add extra layers on top when this is completely dry. You could kind of go in with darker layers of flowers over the top. But I'm quite liking the way the colours kind of change around the wreath and the kind of the different elements. So I like that you've got some kind of big elements here, and they're contrasted by kind of smaller, more kind of detailed elements elsewhere. So yeah, so you can make this, you can make your flowers much neater than I have. I've definitely deliberately been a little bit sketchy here. So you've got some kind of rough edges on the leaves. There's an awful lot going on here that is like, what really is that? But then that's kind of the way when you look at a wreath, you don't often pick out the individual elements. You kind of see the whole thing as a whole. So thanks very much for watching today. I hope that you've enjoyed this one. I hope that you give it a go. If you do, you can post your work to Instagram, tag me at Lou Rachel Davis. I do love seeing what you've made, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.